spent a lot of time in the book with a Fish and Wildlife Service special agent named Ed Newcomer, who was referred to, it was very funny. This guy, how many of you are fans of Jon Stewart? I just love the guy. I think he's absolutely spectacular. So I introduced his name, and Stewart is looking at this as dangerous world of butterflies. This seems to be a conundrum there. This can't be the case. And so I mentioned the name Ed Newcomer, and he said in a James Bond narrator voice, "Newcomer, Ed Newcomer." It was nice. It was funny, I thought. At any rate, this guy is intrepid. He spent 3 years seeking a conviction of a Japanese national who was engaged in trafficking butterflies. And just to give you an indication of the amount of money involved in this, just the transactions between the two of them while he was building his case amounted to $300,000. This is one agent working undercover with one provider, illegal provider, $300,000 transactions before he made the case. Now, Dangerous World of Butterflies also for the bad guys. That guy went to prison. He was convicted. Newcomer wanted him in this country. He wanted to get him back here from Japan. The guy, his name is Yoshi Kojima, went back and forth between Japan and the US and all around the world, engaged in this business, but he ran it from Kyoto, and Newcomer wanted to get him here. This is what he did. He convinced, Newcomer convinced Kojima that he, Newcomer, was also a crook, and he wanted to be supplied by Kojima, that he was a retailer in America. And he convinced Kojima that they could communicate efficiently by using Skype. Are all of you familiar with Skype? It's an internet communication device that's both audio and visual. It's time and date stamps. So anytime you're on Skype, you should know that somewhere it's potentially recorded by Skype, by the NSA. This is not paranoia, this is remembering the 60s and plenty of things before then. And Yoshi Kojima was not remembering this or did not know about this. In addition, in his office, where the focus was tight, so all Kojima saw was Newcomer at his desk, not anything that looked like the bureaucratic office of the Fish and Wildlife Service in Torrance, California. Out of the camera range, so that Yoshi couldn't see it, he had another camera focused on his Skype screen. So it's gathering evidence. He's shooting himself and the picture of Kojima, with Kojima giving him instructions on how to engage in illegal activity. It was just an airtight case. It was spectacular. But he had to get him back here. The Japanese officials were not being cooperative. In fact, still he's trying to get the Japanese to seize Kojima's hard drives because he wants to, Kojima's a middleman. He wants to know who's supplying Kojima and he wants to know who he's selling to because it's illegal across the whole spectrum. And so Kojima, Newcomer's a good-looking guy, and when he is undercover, he tends to grow a Fu Manchu mustache and dress in Southern California casual, and you might call him cute. And Kojima called him cute. Kojima had a crush on him. And Kojima started to end his Skype conversations with the federal agent by saying things such as, "Before we say goodbye, would you take down your pants and let me see your body so I can sleep well at night?" This isn't an investigation of butterfly trafficking. And Coy Ed, said, "Not until you get to Los Angeles." So here we are back in the office down in Marin County. And the butterflies came in styrofoam containers with those ice packs that you might keep beer cold in to go to a picnic. Pardon?
Dry ice.
No, it wasn't dry ice. It was that stuff that you freeze, you put in the freezer, and then it stays cold for a couple of hours. Anyway, that's how they came. And then the instruction was to put them in the refrigerator until several hours before we wanted to release them. And the temperature was supposed to be 75 or higher. It was 80 degrees that day down where my office is. And so we took them out. There's a full kitchen and a full bathroom down there. And we took them out and put them in the kitchen. And then a couple hours later, it was just quite creepy because they started to, excuse me?
Move right.
Yeah, but not just move around their legs. And I need a piece of paper to make this noise properly. It was like this in the kitchen, and this scratching, and then more. First just a couple, and then because we had several dozen, and 75, and 75 painted ladies, each one in a glassine envelope, folded closed, cold, waking up, no longer in Florida, in California, 3,000 miles by UPS, and this noise, it was just creepy. It really was creepy.
Oh, they were still in the envelope? When
each one is in a glassine envelope.
When they were making the noise?
Yes, because they're getting their little legs.
They're waking up.
Excuse me? Yes, they're waking up. It's a beautiful thing. That's all perspective. It was really creepy. And then we had to transfer them. So we had 3 release devices. One was a box that was a satin box. This must have been the wedding release box with satin ribbon on it. The other was well, this might have been the wedding box, because the other was a heart-shaped box with a clear plastic top. And the third was an accordion release, so that the pages came out accordion type, and there was a butterfly between each page. The idea being that you go like this,
And
the butterflies go like that.
Was that a German wedding?
You were at a accordion.
No.
Oh, the accordion. Oh, it was Mexican. What are you talking about, German?
Oh, I was thinking
Right, Norteña music, right. And so what we had to do was the accordion, the German one, was already loaded, because that didn't matter. They could be in there with their wings closed. They had loaded that in Florida. But the other boxes were empty, and we had to load them. And in the directions, it said, find a place with a low ceiling. So we went into the bathroom, which has a shower with a very low ceiling, and the shower curtain. And I sat on the floor in the shower, and Sheila handed me each one to put into these boxes. And Jeffrey Glassberg was wrong. These guys were not dead. These guys were alive. And he said that everyone he's been to, they've been just miserable. Art Shapiro has been to a few, and he said that they were terrific. So I'm sure some don't work, and some do. Art Shapiro went to one that was at the Capitol Park in Sacramento, and the butterflies flew up into the trees at Capitol Park and stayed around for several days. He said, at any rate, some of them got away. We had to grab them and put them. But they're really resilient. How many of you have grabbed a butterfly? They're strong, aren't they? They're remarkably strong. And you don't hurt them for the most part by just grabbing them. We shove them into the boxes. Well, we didn't. We gently put them into the boxes with care and love. And because their butterfly is the word in Greek, psyche, butterfly and soul. We can't jam them into the box. I was jamming them into the box. Sheila was delicately handling them to me. And so we took them out into the yard, and we'd assembled some neighbors and the neighbors' children, which was really beautiful. Have any of you been to these flyways that exist where they're like aviaries, except instead of birds, they're butterflies? And the children are always so fun to watch. They always say, welcome butterfly. It's so sweet. It's just so sweet. And so we had a couple of neighbor children there. And yeah, there was nothing else creepy. We released them. It was spectacular, and there undoubtedly are some that aren't, but it worked.
Be sharing her